What is going on, my guardian gamers? Is I, Birdman, back with another Destiny 2 build, and today I'm going to be showing off kind of a new yet updated version of my Stasis Titan build. We used the ACD feedback fences last season, but now we're going to be using something a little bit different just because of how everything's been changed with abilities and whatnot. But before I get into the video and explain everything that you need for this setup, now you can follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Birdman778. Give a thumbs up on this video. Let me know something you're interested in seeing down below, whether it's Hunter, Titan, or Warlock. Subscribe to the channel because we're almost at 10K, probably at 10K by the time you see this video. So thanks for being around. We're probably going to be giving away a copy of the final shape for, June, whenever that comes around, and also become a member if you like that homie Jiffy Nano, who is a member. Now, let's jump right on into it. Now, we always like to talk about the exotic we're going to be using for this setup first, and that's a Hoarfrost Z. This was introduced back in Witch Queen. It reads Glacial Fortification. When using the Stasis subclass, your barricade becomes a wall of stasis crystals that slows nearby targets when created. Standing behind the barricade will grant you and your allies increased weapon reload speed, stability, and range. Now, I really like this just because it essentially gives us another activation of stasis crystals to use, because these are essentially just like giant nukes that are sitting on the battlefield. Definitely something I enjoy using in a world where we don't have, like the war sat, all the war mines and everything from a couple seasons ago that I really miss. So it's nice to just, again, have these nice little nukes sitting around the battlefield. When it comes to our subclass and everything you're needing for this, first off, for the Super Glacial Quake, definitely take advantage of it. It's pretty good. It got a bit of a buff. Well, essentially, they just re-added some abilities to it. Whenever you activate your Glacial Quake, you're going to have like this burst of stasis around you that's going to freeze targets. It used to not have that. Now it does again. Hell yeah, we like that stuff. When it comes to our abilities and everything, Rally Barricade, it's just going to be like this no matter what, so just use this one. Shiver Strike, not a whole lot of great stuff with it. I really hate it. Never been a fan of this, but it's something that you got to use just because we don't have any other charged melees to use. Definitely hoping in future stasis updates that we see something new and different with this. When it comes to our grenade, Glacial Grenade is the easiest way to get those stasis crystals that are going to constantly just be juicing everyone on the battlefield. It's definitely fun to also just get nice little freezes off on champions and stuff. This is just an absolute juicer of a grenade now. Now, when it comes to our aspects, first off, Tectonic Harvest is an absolute must. Shattering a stasis crystal creates a stasis shard. This shard grants melee energy when you pick it up for you or your allies. Big reason why this is important because it's going to feed into a lot of the ability stuff that we're going to be doing for our mods. So definitely make sure that you got this on. And the second is going to be a Diamond Lance. Now, I know you're probably being like, Bird, why aren't you using something like Howl of the Storm or at least Cryoclasm so that you're able to run in stasis crystals? Well, I want that extra fragment slot, but this also really does well in endgame content, especially for the fact that you constantly are going to have these Diamond Lances sitting on the battlefield. Grab one, throw it at a champion, it freezes them instantly, and that gives you a second to at least get up on them and get set up to stun them and take them out, or at least just freeze a couple targets. Now, when it comes to the fragments and everything you're going to be wanting to use for this setup, first off, Whisper of Refraction, defeating slowed or frozen targets grants class ability energy. That's going to be constantly going, and we definitely want to use that wall of stasis crystals as much as we humanly can. Take advantage of all the different ways that it's going to be useful to us, so definitely a good one to have. Whisper of Shards, shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate. Shattering additional crystals increases the duration of the benefit. Definitely a great one when we're definitely trying to create as many of those nuking stasis crystals around as much as humanly possible. Definitely know that you can kind of leave a few of the crystals sitting around if you want and let the timer of this run out so you're able to keep it going and going. Definitely just useful fragment to use. Whisper of Chains, while you're near frozen targets or a friendly stasis crystal, you take reduced damage. Really helps out for the end game survivability for the setup, so definitely take advantage of it. Whisper of Fissures, increase the damage and size of the burst of stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. Definitely adds to the nuke aspect of this stasis build, so one that we had to have. Whisper of Rending, primary ammo weapons do increase damage, stasis crystals, or frozen targets. Big reason why we wanted that 5th fragment slot, so that we were able to get this extra perk in there and essentially have all these different fragments that are going to give us survivability and energy for all of our abilities. Now, when it comes to the weapons you're going to be wanting to use for this setup, definitely want to have some type of solar energy weapon of some sort, just so that you're able to constantly keep up your radiant and help out a lot of the stuff that we're going to be using for our artifact. But I definitely recommend one that has a primary ammo to it. So Azali's Bane is going to be a great one. You can get this from King's Fall. You can also use something like a Callus mini tool. That would be definitely usable. But I've been also running this with Salvation's Grip so that I constantly have a way to create more stasis crystals and also just take down champs. This one is an absolute just monster of an exotic. I really wish they would make a catalyst for it because it's really cool. Its intrinsic trait reads Cryo Cannon. Hold to charge, release to fire. This weapon charge projectiles create a pattern of stasis crystals on impact and freeze nearby targets. And then the other trait, the Shatter Shot. This weapon's uncharged projectile deals bonus damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. Rapidly destroying multiple stasis crystals reloads this weapon from reserve. So really, really juicer of an exotic. Now, when it comes to the mods and everything I'm going to use on your armor, first up, a solar siphon, just because you should be using a solar primary, just because everything that we're going to be using for our artifact. A dynamo, because we're going to be constantly activating that barricade near target, so it's a great one to use. And then a heavy ammo finder, just so that we have plenty of ammo for our Salvation's Grip. When it comes to the gloves, I went with a triple grenade kickstart. Now, I think this is kind of bugged right now. I don't think so. It might be, I don't know. Definitely still a good one to use, just because not a whole lot of other stuff that we need to use for this setup. We're not really going to be pushing into a lot of melee energy, and we're getting plenty of ability energy back from our fragment that uses that. So definitely want to focus as much as we can into our grenade. Then on a chest piece, I went with double charged up and then a concussive dampener, just for a little bit more damage reduction. Legs, I went with a stacks on stacks so that I'm able to take advantage of each of those orbs of power as 2 rather than 1. Also an elemental charge so that those stasis crystals will also count for armor charges. Do know that they also have a chance to get 2 instead of 1 with the stacks on stacks. Now, when it comes to our Titan Mark, first off, a distribution so that we're able to get some ability energy back whenever we activate our barricade near targets. A Reaper so that I get orb of power after I get a kill after activating my ability, and also a powerful attraction so that whenever I activate that barricade near targets, I'm gonna get all those orbs of power back to me. Now, when it comes to the artifact, first up on the second slot, a kindling trigger so that we're able to scorch targets whenever we are radiant, and also a from whence you came so that we're doing extra damage to take and scorn targets. In the third column, Flint Striker, so that those rapid precision hits or final blows with a solar weapon will make us radiant. Torch, so that whenever we are radiant, we're dealing increased weapon damage to stasis affected targets. And also a Wish into Being, so that we're getting some orb power while we are close to having our super full. In the fourth slot, Pillar of Ice, defeating an encased combatant spawns a stasis crystal. Easy way to constantly keep up that grenade energy. Dragon's Bite, breaking combatant's shield with a strand or stasis weapon has a chance to suspend or freeze the target. We have a good chance of doing that with either, just using a strand or stasis weapon in our top slot, or even with that Salvation's Grip. And finally, in the fifth column, Hail the Storm, shattering encased targets and stasis crystals deals increased damage. Shattering stasis crystals releases shards of ice that damage and slow targets. Great one to constantly keep up those stasis debuffs. And also I went with the Solar Operative just because I was playing solo most of the time. Now you could put on Raise of Precision to get some easy ignites off as well. Now we like to always talk about how this is going to be endgame viable against champs. First up, against barriers, I recommend just using a sidearm for this season. Probably going to be easiest way, but you can become radiant with solar with our hand cannon. Do know if you use the hand cannon specifically, you have to take off the unstoppable mod from it. When it comes to unstoppables, we're able to get shatter effects off with all these stasis crystals we're doing, or again, you can just use an unstoppable hand cannon mod if you want. And then finally, with the overload, we're getting plenty of slow effects from all the stasis that we're doing. So it's a great one to use. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hope you guys really enjoy it. I'm glad that I was finally able to get out a stasis build for Titan. Definitely really like the one that we had from last season more when abilities were fixed, but they have talked about retuning those up a little bit. So hopefully they do end up doing that. But again, close to 10K if we're not already. Make sure that you're already subscribing to the channel, become a member, like the video, let me know something you're interested in seeing down below, whether it's Titan, Hunter, or Warlock, and follow me over on YouTube and Twitter, Birdman778. Guys, thank you so much. Hope you have a great night, day, whatever it may be.